But for the remaining time we have in this episode, again, this is kind of our science fiction horror episode. Science fiction because of the creator, horror just because it's the first week of October, plus the Saw review. So we're going to be doing two things, two fun little rankings, or one ranking, one draft. We're going to start ranking our top 5 science fiction films of all time. Nothing I think we're going to harp on too long. I feel like we've all expressed our love for all of these films countless times. So I'm going to say right now I will be excluding Star Wars from my list. I don't know if it would even be on your list to begin with, but I am going to exclude it.
Can I ask? I can't include like Alien, can I?
Yeah, why not? Science fiction.
Yeah, but I'm not gonna. I'm gonna do like actual,
like true
sci-fi.
Science fiction. Okay,
just
okay.
like you know, with like Star Wars. Star Wars like fantasy
yeah.
sci-fi or whatever. So I'll just do actual sci-fi.
It's funny because
Okay.
I'm doing actual sci-fi too, but Alien is an actual sci-fi film on my rankings.
Yeah.
Like
I
I
would
have
consider
horror as a
Alien
secondary
more
genre.
sci-fi than horror.
Yeah, but what I would say is like it's got hot. It's like
Yeah,
for me,
Plus,
it's like 50.
we know you love it
I just
so
wanna-
much, so it'll be
yeah.
interesting to hear different
Yeah,
film it
it's,
says.
it's
So.
boring like doing that. That's fine.
We'll just go around in a quaint circle. Seth, we'll start with you. What is your number 5 science fiction film? OAT.
Oh shit! So this is tough because I'm not a big sci-fi guy. Like I honestly don't have that many rated that highly. Like George,
breaks my heart.
I have 2 sci-fi films that are 5-star.
That's
One of them is
so despicable.
But solely sci-fi, not including Alien and the Thing.
That's still a tough look.
So 5, fuck man. Yeah, so 5. I'll go Back to the Future for 5.
Yeah,
Back to the Future, yeah. The first Back to the
That's
Future.
what's up.
I used to watch it all. I haven't actually watched it in about a year. I used to put Back to the Future on DVD all the time when I was younger. Back to the Future is a fantastic film, stands the test of time in every single possible way. And it's just a beautiful film for all ages. I really like the first Back to the Future, so I'll go with that for 5.
I'm gonna piggyback right off that because my number 5 is Back to the Future as well. Hell
Nice.
yeah! One of my personal favorites. One of my absolute childhood staples, I guess. One of like the movies I just remember watching so early in my life and just falling in love with it. It's been like very close to the top of my favorites list. Not even like just strictly sci-fi, just in general for forever. Fucking love it. Just like I talked about The Thing, I could rewatch Back to the Future a million times and just find new value in it and just adore it more and more every time. Tyler, your number 5. Just say Back to the Future.
I
do it.
haven't logged it, so I don't click on that. I'm gonna quickly do some honorable mentions purely because these are like secondary sci-fi, so I'm not gonna include them in my ranking, but they would be if I was
I'll say
including
mine
them.
after.
Yeah, you guys can go for it too. Rogue One, you mentioned we're not gonna count Star Wars, but Rogue One would have been up there for me. What else? Mad Max is like a secondary genre sci-fi, but I consider more action.
I would have counted that, to be fair. I think.
No, like that's what I'm saying. These are all sci-fi films, but
Yeah, I
I'm
guess
personally
so.
not counting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to include them in this rankings. Just like this one, especially, I think is truly a sci-fi, but I still consider it an action. Terminator 2: Judgment Day, absolutely considered sci-fi, but just not going to include that in this ranking. Same with Jurassic Park, and then what would have been my number 1 ranked of all these, but it's a secondary genre, is Her. That would be my number 1 sci-fi, but it's a romance / drama more so not gonna be my rankings. But getting to my actual rankings, number 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So number 5 for me would be 2001: A Space Odyssey, which I need to rewatch. I almost rewatched it on the plane the other day, but I was like, this isn't really a plane movie. So
no, absolutely not.
Yeah, I'm due for a rewatch on that one because I'll be really interested to see. Because I knew immediately when I watched it for the first time, I was personally conflicted on it a bit. I was like, I loved so much of that. Some of it I didn't quite work for me, but I still feel like it was like a perfect movie, but just didn't completely click for me. It was just like a weird mental space I was in after watching it. So I want to rewatch it after, I don't know, it's probably been almost 2 years now since I watched it for the first time and kind of see how my thoughts have changed. But yeah, number 5 for me would be 2001: A Space Odyssey.
I will say, George, just before you do it, so you can say yours as well, but there's a few here that I wouldn't have counted as well. So Children of Men, I don't know if it's like post-apocalyptic action thriller. It's a weird one.
I'm sure like on like the letterbox genres, it's all the way at the bottom.
It's got like 5. It's got like 5
like
genres.
Action, thriller, probably all ahead of it.
Sci-fi. And then 28 Days Later, but that's like horror, I guess. Horror sci-fi.
Yeah.
I would also say Empire Strikes Back again. We thought it was sci-fi fantasy,
space
and
opera.
then I would say Threads as well. Kind of like it's a really weird, post-apocalyptic. It's like drama war. I think war is like the primary one on there, and then also Clockwork Orange was like dystopian.
Okay.
And then obviously the obvious ones, Alien, The Thing, and Bride of Frankenstein as well, which is like they're all horrors. So I'm just making sure everyone knows that's why I'm not picking those ones. Anyway.
So what's your number 4?
No, you sure go.
No, it's your go.
Oh no, it's not you. No, I thought it was your go. Okay, my number 4 is Planet of the Apes. My number 4 is Planet of the Apes.
Which one?
The original.
Really?
Yeah, I love Planet of the Apes. The first one, not the.
Yeah, no, I know. I did not know you held that highly.
So, Planet of the Apes, the first, was actually like my dad's all-time favorite film, the original. I used to watch them all the time as a kid, and I think it was truly just a remarkable accomplishment. Every time I watch it now, it just gives me good feelings. I also think it has one of the best plot twists ever as well, and I think it's just such a big epic on a huge scale. I do like the newer Planet of the Apes films as well, the trilogy. Some of the sequels in the original film were fucking not good. Like have you seen Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes?
No.
Like Mark Wahlberg.
I need to rewatch. I don't have any of the originals logged on Letterboxd. I need to rewatch all of them.
Some of the sequels aren't great. There's like one, and I think that as a whole trilogy, the new ones are a lot more consistent. But I do think that the original one is one of the biggest science fiction accomplishments ever. So I'll go for that as my number 4.
Awesome. Well, my number 4, you were obviously going to see some Christopher Nolan on my list. I got Inception, and I'll give.
Are we saying that sci-fi?
Are you kidding me?
I guess so. I just like sci-fi action. Like...
What do you mean?
I have it as a sci-fi main genre on the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet is the Bible.
I guess it is.
I'll also give an honorable mention shout out to Interstellar, not in my top 5, not even in my top 10, I guess, depending on what movies we consider pure science fiction.
I thought that would be your number 1. Oh,
that's
no,
like
Inception.
Like if I were to include The Thing and Alien and Aliens and Mad Max Fury Road, Interstellar wouldn't be in the top 10. But like if I don't include those movies, then yes, it would be in the top 10. But I got Inception number 4. Still my number 1 movie of last decade. Fucking love that thing. It is just conceptually bold. It's Christopher Nolan at one of his most audacious. I feel like you could say that about every single one of his films. He just gets more and more audacious with what he's putting on screen. So Inception, my number 4.
Yeah, so my number 2 would have been Alien, but we've talked so much about it already and talked about it as kind of more a horror that I'll remove that and say, that's another honorable mention. Alien would be in my ranking, but I won't include it because we've kind of already labeled it as a horror. So with that being said, that would shift my ranking. So I already said, what did I say? 2001: A Space Odyssey was 5. So that'd actually be number 4 because I'm removing Alien from my ranking. So instead, what my number 5 would be Arrival. So obviously, George loves that movie. Arrival. I remember watching it for the first time in college and absolutely loved it. And it was one of those. I was living with 3 other guys at the time. One of them who enjoyed movies a decent amount, and I had him watch it with me. Like I basically ran it right back. I was like, back to the beginning. Let's rewatch it. I'm going to show you it. He didn't really get it or like it nearly as much as me. And it's one of those where I was like, God, why did I even show you this movie anyways? Like just where you get kind of annoyed when you're like so excited to show someone a movie and they're like, yeah, I don't know, kind of stupid. I'm like, you're kind of stupid.
Yeah, go fuck yourself, bro.
But no, Arrival's great. I love Arrival. Amy Adams so good in it.
That's the fuck I'm talking about. The movie's so good. Surprisingly though, not in my top 5.
Wow. Well, a good thing I gave it at least a little shout out.
I thought Interstellar and Arrival were like guaranteed your top 3.
Arrival is my number 6, actually. Yeah, I don't quite hold it. It's so close.
I know what your top 3 is. Doesn't matter. I know what your top 3 is.
I feel like you definitely can pull my top 3. Maybe not one of them.
Your top 3 is.
Okay.
No. I know what your top 3 is.
What's your number 3, Seth?
My number 3 is like the most me pick ever. It's Metropolis, Fritz Lang's Metropolis from 1927. So I watched this recently. Like seriously, like I know people meeting me for being the black and white silent film guy, but this is truly just fucking incredible. Like to make the world it was in and just have so much illustration of kind of the social injustice with like with the gaps in society, wealth corruption at the time, and the cities they created in fucking 20s. It really is like. So I like silent films, obviously, but I always have a thing where like I tend not to like them if they go on for a certain amount of time. Do you know what I mean? Like there is a point where this is 2.5 hours and I was like locked in the whole time. And I truly think it's really incredible. And it's not going to be for everyone because it is, very old, silent, and a long film, but the world they managed to create at the time, the social commentary within the film, truly stunning. So Metropolis is my number 3. So the most me pick ever, but I'll take it.
My number 3, and I was questioning whether or not to include this, but I'm going to. It's Andrei Tarkovsky's Stalker.
Mid.
Stop. You're out of
No,
your
actually, I like
fucking
Stalker.
mind. What do you rate that? Hold on. What do you rate? Where's
No,
your
I like Stalker. It's the only one I've liked. I have
4
stars.
stars?
It's a good
4
film.
stars, my ass.
It's a good
Seth-
you should
Seth-
speak to my dad, George, because that's like his like number 2. He fucking loves that shit.
I
It is
loved
good.
this. I saw a prompt on Twitter the other day. It was like, what is the most
Thought-provoking.
thought-provoking, I think was their wording, or something along those lines, films that you've ever seen. And like Stalker's the one that always comes to mind. It's
No, I get that. I get it.
It's so beautiful. It's so poetic. Every line of dialogue just carries so much weight to it. And the ending is just like this stunning, just opens so much room for discussion. And I love films that can do that. So I
will say
Tarkovsky's
some of the
Stalker.
shots in Stalker are like
Gorgeous.
seriously
Like crazy for 1979. Nuts.
I need to watch it again. Because it's been
good.
like 2 years, I think. So.
Good. It's so good. You want to watch together?
Not really.
Okay, that's kind of weird.
I need some time.
Tyler, your number
3?
Race.
Yeah.
Number 3 for me is Interstellar. A movie I loved when it first came out. Rewatched it a ton first couple of years, and then hadn't watched it in a long time, and started to let the community on Twitter. There's a lot of people in the film community, especially, that like to call Interstellar overrated. It's obviously a very
Alex Coleman.
Alex Coleman.
It's not just him though. There's a lot of people that are like,
No, but Alex is like the
the
voice of
poster
it, even
child.
though he rates it highly.
Alex Midman.
So
Alex
I started to let them get in my head. I was like, it's been a few years, like maybe it is overrated. And then I rewatched it. I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to myself. I rewatched it, loved the movie still. And I was like, yeah, I love Interstellar. So whatever. If you think it's overrated, I think you're overrated.
I'm putting this. Get fucked. I'm putting this on the pod right now. Alex and I are playing each other in fantasy this week, and we've made a little bet, a little side deal. If he wins, I have to raise Transformers: Dark of the Moon to a 5 out of 5.
Is that why Cam did it? Because I swear he did. Like,
Did he?
raised
I
it
didn't
to-
know.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
And if
Yeah.
I win, Alex has to raise Interstellar to a 5 out of 5.
Fun little bet.
Maybe forever. I don't know. We haven't decided yet. Seth, number 2.
So my number 2 is George's favorite director. That's Signs, obviously.
You're so lost. Signs.
So yeah, I mean, it's
Oh
an
my
amazing movie.
God,
Just
like-
one of the best films on
We're
faith,
out here.
on
We're out
family
here rattling
dynamics.
off Back to the Future, Inception, 2001, Interstellar, and you throw in Signs.
Hey, I haven't said 2001 yet. Leave me
My
alone.
Bible spreadsheet of signs, the main genre is listed as a mystery. So
Yeah,
it
that
did
shit
not
ain't
fall
even
my
science
No,
fiction.
Signs is sci-fi.
It's obviously very much sci-fi, but the main genre for me is
What?
mystery.
Yeah,
Why have I gone so red? Jesus.
because M Night is tonally all over the place. Never has a grasp on his movies.
Can we mute this fucking guy? Yeah, like so. Signs. We spoke about this to fucking death in the episode we did with the boys on the It Looks Like a Movie podcast. But love Signs. I have a keen interest in films about faith and grief and family, and it means a lot to me. I love Signs. Signs is my number 2. Can anyone guess what my number 1 is?
Yeah,
You know?
way. I have no idea.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. Yeah,
My
who
number
knows?
2, I don't think my number 2 and 1 are a surprise at all. My number 2 is the original Blade Runner, the Ridley Scott Blade Runner.
Oh my god, I didn't even. You know when I said I knew your top 3, I literally only know one of them.
What were you thinking? What were the other 2?
I was thinking.
Probably Arrival.
Interstellar.
No, because after I think it was Arrival and Dune, actually. Arrival, Dune, and I know what your number 1 is.
Dune's
I think it might have been Arrival and Dune.
Dune is close.
Shit.
Dune is
Dune
close.
was really close. Dune
Yeah,
was
Dune is
really. It was like
close.
that'd been number 6, I think. for
And
me.
Dune Part 2
Pure
are going to be
sci-fi.
number 1 without a doubt. Blade Runner is like my favorite display of like science fiction world building.
The first one, yeah.
The first one. Yeah.
yeah.
Not the Denis Villeneuve one, the Ridley Scott one. I think it builds this world that is so just enthralling and intoxicating. It's so easy to get lost in this world. And then on top of that, this is like what separates like a Blade Runner from the creator. The Blade Runner excels in everything technically that the creator excels in, but it has a very tight script. It has a really, really solid screenplay to back it. It's in my top 5 of all time. I fucking adore that movie. Tyler?
I didn't think of that one.
My number 2, we just chatted about it a little bit, is Dune. That's my number 2. So I got 2 Denis Villeneuve in my top 5. Obviously one of the best, maybe the best modern sci-fi blockbuster director out there today. I feel like that's not that crazy of a take to say.
It's not crazy at all.
But yeah, Dune. I mean, everything I wanted to be and more. Saw it in theaters, loved it, rewatched it, because that was also not the same as Interstellar, but I saw it in theaters, and then kind of a lot of my friends saw it after me and were kind of like, oh, that was really slow, didn't love it. And then I rewatched it when it came out, and I was like, maybe I was just, seeing an IMAX, maybe that like really raised my opinion on it. But then I rewatched it on just like a laptop screen when it came out on streaming. I was like, oh yeah, this movie still fucking rips. So Dune is amazing. I can't wait for Dune Part 2. Really can't wait for Dune Messiah. I kind of know a little bit, but I'm trying to stay as blind as possible to what's going to happen. But yeah, Denis Villeneuve, so happy he's taken on the series.
Dude's got it. He's good.
He understands how to make a sci-fi blockbuster for sure.
Seth, number 1. What is it, bro?
This lighting has changed like mad.
I was about to say, you got dark fast.
Like really quickly. What the fuck?
You got dark really quickly.
It's not even close to night out there, right? It's just cloudy or something?
No, it's daytime.
Yeah.
What the fuck is happening to me right now, bro? What the fuck? Apologies if you can't see me right now.
Yeah,
my number 1.
E.T.
Easy. My number 1. I do just want to shout out quickly. Shout out to Eternal Sunshine. Obviously, that's romance.
Yeah.
I didn't say it in the things. And also another 4.5 I didn't shout out is Wall-E. So shout out Wall-E as well.
Wow.
And Mad Max actually. Yeah, so my number 1 is 2001: A Space Odyssey. What a surprise! Seeing this in the cinema again a few weeks ago. A few weeks ago was just blew my head off. One of the best spectacles in the history of the medium of cinema. Truly incredible. Everything a film should be. One of my favorite films of all time. Film I've seen over and over again. Film I watched when I was like 13, and I don't even think I liked it at the start, to be fair. But just one of my favorites of all time. This is the most expected number 1 for me at all. Let's be honest. I think it truly is the perfect sci-fi film and one of the most important films of all time. So 2001: Space Odyssey is my number 1.
Random. Well, I'll quickly piggyback off that. My number 1, without a doubt, is 2001: A Space Odyssey. Just like Seth said. Its influence is unrivaled. Its story is just deeply profound. Hal is like one of my favorite villains on screen, just constantly haunting, constantly unpredictable. He makes your body fucking itch. My question for you guys. It wouldn't be in my top 10, but would you consider Everything Everywhere All at Once a science fiction film? Like it is.
Let me address the Bible.
Okay.
I'll get back to you.
Sure.
I think that's like I would consider that's like that is the primary genre.
Letterboxd
apparently it's not. Apparently it's third.
Letterboxd has action and adventure over it, which kind of shocks
me. Action makes sense, I guess. I think
like
sci-fi
all makes sense.
Yeah, it's not even listed as a sci-fi anywhere on IMDb. So that means on my spreadsheet it's not listed anywhere as a sci-fi. But I'm gonna add it right now because
me and Tyler currently are the polar opposites of lighting.
Yeah,
Tyler's absorbing the light. No one's going near me. Jesus Christ!
I'm relying on that natural sunlight right now in this gloomy New York City day. Tyler, right. I don't know what your number 1 is. Is your number 1 Blade Runner?
It is Blade Runner.
It is Blade Runner. Okay.
To put it off for way too long, and it instantly became one of my favorite films of all time. And
wait, number 1, yeah.
Number 1 sci-fi, yeah.
No, I mean just Blade Runner, not Blade Runner.
Yeah, sorry, Blade Runner. Blade Runner 2049, I didn't like as much. It's like George said, Blade Runner itself and Blade Runner 2049 obviously as well. Incredible technical marvels with crazy production design, world building, cinematography, directing. Both Ridley Scott and Denis Villeneuve knocked it out of the park with their direction of the films, but just the thing that Blade Runner had that 2049 was just missing for me is just the iconic quotes and the stuff that stuck in my head long after the movie ended, which I do think Blade Runner 2049 might have a little bit of if I watch it again, but I've only seen the original Blade Runner once and it just stuck in my head for days after. Like, what's that guy's name? Ruger Ruger Beatty.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good. And and I don't usually love Harrison Ford performances, but I think he's really good in this, which obviously is like a funny thing, like how he like kind of purposefully tanked the voiceovers or whatever for this movie because he thought it was stupid. But I still thought he was good in this, and I don't know, just the first Blade Runner in me just stuck in my head so much more than Blade Runner 2049. I just loved it so much. So and it just ended the tears in the rain, just so iconic. I love Blade Runner, such a good movie.
I think I prefer that slightly, to be honest, over the newer one.
2049 is so good though.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously an immaculate film as well. Just
so good.
Yeah,
they're both good.
Mid.
I had
don't
Back
even
to the
believe that.
Future at number 5, Inception at number 4, Tarkovsky's Stalker at number 3, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner at number 2, and 2001: A Space Odyssey by the obvious legend, Mr. Stanley Midman.
Wouldn't say mid.
Midbrick. Stanley Midbrick.
I had 5 Back to the Future, 4 Planet of the Apes, 68, 3 Metropolis, 2 Signs, and 1 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley Goatbrick.
I had at number 5 Arrival, number 4 2001: A Space Odyssey by Stanley He's All Right Brick. Number 3 I had Interstellar. Number 2 I had what did I have for number 2?
You had
number 1 was Blade Runner. Number 2 was Dune.
Dune, yeah, Dune.
Yep.